the screen. All right, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our game. I don't know if you will get sounds.
Ahoy! My name is Commodore Matthew C. Perry. President Millard Fillmore wants me to sail to Japan to negotiate a trade treaty. Can you help me plot my course?
And here it asks you, of course, the answer is yes. I just wanted to make sure. And what we're planning to do probably later on to have this as the crack or the admin panel to get through from here. So if you write something else, for example, I am a teacher, and then that would give you another access. And now it says I must go to Norfolk, and then with my mouse I have to choose, and then we have the hint here to help you with that. So that would be 37, 60, 76, and if I choose
Try again.
so it asks you to try again. But if I guess correctly,
Correct.
tells me it's correct. And now the next location, and so again the hint will change based on where the place needs to be. So, and this is the place. We also wanted to show the trail where he's going, and then again now I need to choose the next parts.
Correct.
And then we wanted to, because the focus is on longitude and latitude, so we split it into two parts. So what is the east longitude? And that it's somewhere around inside the circle, as the hint says. So we have to choose between 0 to 180. So this would be around 19 or 18, and we made to make it easier on the students, if they choose 18, 19, or even 16, it will choose correct. And then we first give that, and then the south. I think I got that wrong, didn't I? Yes, I did. Anyways, so 0 to 80, that one would be 17. I'll go with 16. He disagreed.
Try again.
So the east, that would be this part. That would be 50 to 60. So above 55, and so I'll go with 56. And that would be, let's say, 17.
Correct.
Goes to the next, and then the next location is Colombo. So 0 to 180. I always have a struggle with this. So above 75, I'll go with 77. And 0 south latitude, 0 to 80. That would be 15. Oops. 15.
Correct.
And by the way we made it, if the student guesses wrong more than 4 times, then they'll be sent back all the way to the back. So let me try this one as well. 0 to 180, that would be 105, maybe. And that would be, let's say, 4. Oh, a little problem. 0 to 180. 103. 0, I'll go with 2.
Take it.
All right, I don't know why I'm guessing this wrong. 2 plus 1.
Take it.
Okay, so I have a problem here. Probably it's something with the code. Okay, let me try one more time. We'll go with hundreds, and then 1. Nope. Wrong. So probably what I can do is see inside it, but I wanted to, sorry. This is why we have beta testing, I guess. That's Cape Town. Colombo. Okay, so 72. Oh, that's why it's wrong. Between 72 for the longitude, it should be between 72 to 79. For the latitude, between 13 and 18. I clicked on that. All right, it's not doing it now. So what I will do is go to Singapore. Okay, it seems that we have a problem here, but the last destination that I have on my program is Canton. And it gives you a hint and it asks you to write down where that is. So let's say Canton.
Correct!
I go straight to Canton. Congratulations, you managed to finish in 336 seconds. And then on the leaderboard, it will have my name here. And when we have the next person, it will, their names will be here alongside on how long it took them to get there. If a player guesses wrong, let's see, so let's say from here. If a player guesses wrong, like 4 seconds.
Dragon! Dragon! Dragon!
So they made a mistake. So everything will be reset. And they'll start from the beginning. And the timer will keep going. So that's basically what I have, what we have. Should I stop sharing and I'll share the link with you now? Also, this is something that came up today. We thought probably if students or teachers would like to access this easily instead of sharing the link, what we did is we created
the QR code.
Yeah, the QR code for it. So if you are, what you can do is you can access this with your phone or your tablet. So you can scan it with your camera and it will work for you.
And the QR code makes it more accessible to different classrooms. Like last year, I taught a classroom that was, we had a computer lab in the school, but the classroom only had a set of iPads. The school I'm in this year, every student has their own Chromebook. So it just makes it more accessible.
Quick question, how does it, if every student individually clicking on this link and working, how will the leaderboard display like the different students if they're all on different links? I mean, they're all, but they're all working, you know what I mean, separately on computers. How do you guys have to let the different names come up on the link?
So that depends on the username. If they have an account there on Scratch, then their username will be shown, not their actual name. But we can add that element as well to have them to ask for the names and then show that, yeah.
So is there like a limit on how many students can play?
I don't think that there's a limit, but through the beta test, if we wanted to check if we will actually get the names of them on the leaderboard and then decide from there if we want to have, you know, the top 10 or top 5.
Okay. So you'd like people to go and try this out on their own right now?
Ahoy! My name is Commodore Matthew C. Perry. President Millard Fillmore wants me to...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say if they like to go through it and share with me what they are, what are their conclusions, and if they have any questions or any suggestions. I'll try to give you the answer for the part where I got it wrong.
And each coordinate has a range, so you don't have to be on that specific number. As long as they're close enough, it should still move.
Yeah.
I guess while people are looking at it, just one question I have, just from the game aspect of it, in terms of the ambiguous decision thinking, sort of what were your thoughts about that with this?
Well, I know that we earlier before class were talking about with the last few coordinates, what I believe it was Canton, Tokyo, and Shanghai, making it multiple choice, and also possibly putting in another multiple choice element. This was all me. This was me overachieving, so I take full responsibility for imparting work on people. There were three, I found a document where there were three notations of where they went ashore on the trip. And so I thought we could put some sort of like multiple choice quiz, that may add or subtract time depending on a right or wrong answer. But I know that with the timer, we were running into some difficulty because scratch timers are.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, in terms of, like, what kind of decisions could a student make that would result, like, is there, I mean, the time, obviously, the goal is to try to kind of get there quickly, because you are timing it. If there's a way, if there's, like, decisions that students could make that would, so I don't know, alter or give them bonuses or subtract from the time, but they would, they wouldn't know whether. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking like it just in terms of like a trade-off sort of a thing. Like, okay, a student could decide rather than doing this to do this, and that might give them a bonus for time. But if they get it wrong, it might actually take time away. Something I don't know in the context of this in terms of what would make sense there, or are there, I don't know if they need a hint or, something like that, where if they choose to get additional information, that would also slow them down. So they'd have to make a choice about whether to just try to answer it and maybe get it wrong, which might take them backwards, or get it, use the hint, which maybe would penalize them a little bit, but not as much as if they got it wrong. Just trying to look at something like that where they're, if the goal is to get there quickly, where they're making decisions along the way that might either positively or negatively impact it, but they wouldn't know necessarily. Because if they knew, it would just be like, okay, at this point, I'm going to choose this because it's going to make my time faster.
I'm wondering if it would work if we plotted a couple more dots on the map for other cities that were not part of his journey. And that way, if they chose one of those other locations, they could move there, but then we could have him say like, nice try. And then you have to go back to the location. So it forces you to slow down because you found a dead end.
Yeah, something like that. Or, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think without sort of knowing the material. Judith, you have a suggestion?
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe there could be, sorry, I'm in both. Hang on, sorry. I was wondering if there might be a way they're not like maybe like a different outcome, because right now it feels like you're kind of guaranteed to end one way or another. Like if there could be a way to sort of, oops, you didn't get there somehow, some choice that you make leads you to not succeed.
So at
Yeah.
like maybe 3 or 4 plots down the line, where everybody seems like they're going at a pretty good clip or a pretty good pace, and then you have to go, take a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn, and then you have to decide which way to go. And then if you do take the wrong turn, maybe it's like a shipwreck or something,
Yeah.
and you're stranded.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much leeway. I mean, obviously, you're actually trying to track his actual historic path.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going to say it could be like find the fastest route or something like that, but you're obviously wanting to go his particular route. So I don't know, Alyssa or Christy, you both have your hands up. I don't know if you had suggestions.
I was just going to suggest that possibly like the first 2 dots have hints, and then if you choose a hint after that, like a timer freeze kind of happens, like like something pops up on the screen that blocks it for 10 seconds or something, and it gives you the hint, but you have to wait till after that 10 seconds to use it. And then you have to choose if you're going to use that hint or not, because it's going to add 10 seconds to your time, so you can't do anything until it's gone.
Sure. Yeah.
I was wondering, going back to the idea of like having questions throughout, maybe like throughout their path, maybe as they're moving, they come across a question and they can choose to answer the question for like an advantage, maybe to skip the next location and like skip one, and so they move further, which would would save them time. But if they choose to answer the question, they lose time, and if they get it wrong, they maybe move back one of the dots or something like that. So they just get random questions throughout their path, and they can choose whether they answer it or they don't answer it. And then there's obviously going to be an advantage if you get it correctly, but you're also losing time by answering questions. So that definitely would be like an ambiguous choice.
Yeah. I mean, going with the nautical theme, it could be like the cards could be like trade wind cards. So if they decide to pick a trade wind card and answer it correctly, it would be like the winds blew them quickly, through one port and on to the next port, more quickly. But the wind could also blow them the wrong direction if they get it wrong, and it blows them back a port, or something along those lines, just to kind of stick with the nautical theme. But yeah, that's something that they can choose that could either advance them or might slow them down, but they wouldn't know. They'd have to decide whether they wanted to go with a question, and then they would get the question. So they wouldn't know ahead of time if the question was going to be something they could answer or not. So yeah, I mean something along those lines. I think just to introduce a little bit into the game where it is that a bit of strategy, a bit of not knowing if the decision they're making is going to positively or negatively impact the outcome of the game. I think in the end, they're still doing the same skills. They're still having to demonstrate that they know latitude and longitude and can follow that, but it introduces that game element in terms of the other piece of it, of how they move through the game. So maybe just some food for thought. The only other thing I noticed, and I know you're still going through and kind of cleaning up, I think some of the south and north latitude, in the asking of the questions, I think it was asking for a south latitude when the location was a north latitude. So, I mean, that's minor, but just going through and making sure that the easts and the wests and the norths and the souths are asked correctly. Just some students might get confused if they're being asked for a south latitude, but it's north. Like, oh, do I do a negative number then, or whatnot? So that was just one other thing that I noticed. So, all right. Anything else? Christy, yeah.
I did want to say though that I think overall it looked really good. I was very impressed by what it could do, the coding. I mean, it looked really nice. And the fact that you were able to see the line being drawn, that they were speaking, I like the voice that was used, just the overall look of it was really well done. So good job on that.
Yeah, I agree. So.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else that group wants to get feedback on, or questions you want answered, but we're afraid to ask?
No, I mean, we in general just appreciate the feedback. You know, and now we have some ideas of where we can take it.
All right. Great. That's what tonight is all about.